Hello, I'm James, and I'm an old guy in Europe. Hello, and thanks for joining me for another episode of An Old Guy in Europe. In this episode, I once again talk with Carl Munson as a featured guest on his Good Morning Portugal Show back in March of 2022. Among other things, we talk about Portugal as a relationship, being infatuated, and wondering how long it takes to feel settled. So please, sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Do you like that, James? You do like a warm hand on your opening, don't you?
I do, yes. As the music was playing, I imagined myself cooking my dinner, humming the tune. So it's really finding its way into my soul.
It is very lovely. I do like that bit of music. As I've said before, it reminds me of 30s. Yeah. You can shimmy around the kitchen while you're cooking. James, how was your weekend?
It was wonderful, as always, every weekend. Although, like I said last week, what's a weekend, really? You know, it's the glorious life I get to live if I don't know what day it is. So, it's a wonderful way to live. I'm happy that I managed to create my way here.
Yeah, good for you, mate. So glad. What's been on your mind this week, then?
Well, interestingly enough, I was having a Zoom chat with Hank and Connie yesterday, and we're talking about, what's going on and how you doing, and they're getting prepped, and Hank says, so how you doing in Portugal? Are you still in that infatuation stage? And it just reminded me, a long time ago, I made some comment about, when you were talking about being new to Portugal, and I said, yes, the infatuation stage. And it didn't go too far after that, but you suggested I write a book on it. And it's like, well, I'll add it to my list of books that need to be written. But it did get me thinking, the infatuation stage. And I'm thinking, because my immediate answer was, nope, still in it. And then I said to him, there was one thing that I was wanting to share, and I thought, oh, this might be something helpful to share to the community as a whole. Having been here now 7 months, I think it'll be 8 months in the middle of June, I realized that I felt like I was missing something. It wasn't a location. It was a sense of arrival, a sense of settling. In my mind, I had this idea, and I just made it up. It came from nowhere, but this idea that, somewhere around 3 months, somewhere around the time I get my residency, I'll feel settled. I'll feel like, I've arrived, I'm here. And I'm still waiting for that moment. Like it hasn't arrived. That led me to thinking about expectations and disappointments that can come from expectations. So I just wanted to put out there, and it's what I'm telling the new people I meet who are coming. It may take a while to feel settled. For me, it's been months, and it's nothing unpleasant. I love being here, but I just somehow I imagine there'd be this time where it's like, I'm here now. Just relax. And no, it's something new every day. Every day is a school day for me here. Still in love, still, all this stuff. So that's just sort of a heads up for folks who are anticipating coming, or who may be here and maybe in the same place, waiting to feel settled.
Absolutely, James. And I had this conversation with Mrs. M when we were driving over to the wedding on Saturday. What percentage are we acclimatized? We will have been here 5 years in September, and I asked her to put a percentage on acclimatization, And I think she said 80 first of all. And she said, "What about you?" And I said, "I think about 50 or 60. This is after 5 years." And I was thinking to myself, I don't want that moment to come, the moment you're talking about, where it's like, okay, I've done it, I'm here now. And I think in many ways it will take, there are parts of the journey, there are parts of being a foreigner in a new country, not because of any ill will or anything, but where you're not essentially a part of things, even though you
Mm.
might feel very comfortable and you might feel like you've landed. It's almost like seven generation thinking, isn't it? You have to have a long term view about settling, and it may be that the next generation feels more settled than you do, and there'll always be a little bit of you that knows you're not from round here, as people say in the part of England I last lived in. You're not from round here, are you, Bay? And you get that everywhere you go, and it's not always a bad thing. It's just a fact, isn't it? After all, and I really surprised myself, and I was so pleased that I was only about 50% acclimatized. And I don't want that to frighten anybody, but I was also thinking to myself, I don't want the newness and the excitement and the beauty and the romance to end either. That's why I don't want to have that feeling that you're talking about, the comfy pair of slippers feeling. Right, that's it. I'm done now, and I'm putting my feet up. It may not happen for us completely, right?
It may not. And it got me thinking, this, and it's so perfect. You're talking about weddings and vows and commitments, and infatuation is what got me thinking about it initially. And I made the comment to Hank. I said it's kind of like, in relationships, we never feel settled. There's not a moment we go, okay, now we're that thing. It just evolves. It continues to
Yeah.
grow and change. And there's never a demarcation that says, here we are, this is something. And that got me thinking about Portugal as a relationship. If Portugal is my lady,
Ooh.
then I will be infatuated at the beginning. I will love everything about her. There will be nothing that she can do wrong. Like I will be in that place for a period of time. And then that will deepen to something more than that, something like, this could be something that could last, and on is the evolution of relationship. And you never really reach a place where you say, oh, we're now at the place where we have arrived.
Well, that's a very interesting analogy, isn't it?
It just keeps evolving.
Yeah, great analogy, because in a relationship, it's good. And well, we've got some feedback coming in here, which may well be connected. We feel completely settled, but just want our language to be better. We were the only non-Portuguese on our section of a walk, and it was so motivational. Portugal is definitely home. Jim's saying getting settled is like waiting to exhale. And there are different parts to this, aren't there? And the analogy with the relationship is good. And I do like the idea of Portugal as a lady, and what we might say about that. Obadi is saying, as a nomad, you never really settle anywhere, just pause for various lengths of times. Yeah, but that first, I think there's that first bit, isn't there, that Victoria was talking about last week, where the landing, creating a soft landing for yourself, and she realised it took 2 months to really unwind. That's the threshold, isn't it, where you've put the intensity of moving behind you, and you're transitioning from the possible stresses and roller coaster ride of migration, the migration part, and you've landed. So I think there's a chunk there, isn't there, of moving from one thing to another. But then you can go into this relationship with Lady Portugal or Mr. Portugal, or whatever your preference is. And hopefully relationships always have that last. Sorry, say that again. Senor Portugal.
Hunky He-Man Portugal, yeah.
Hunky
Whatever
He-Man
you're-
Portugal. That's your thing. Yeah. But you would hope when you're in any relationship, there's always a little bit of mystery. So you don't get complacent or think you know everything, because everything's changing all the time, isn't it? Even Portugal, if you've landed in Portugal, Portugal will be changing as well as its people will be. So it's a movable feast, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just a reminder for me in my ongoing forgetting and remembering circle of being present. The only thing that matters is what's happening right now in this very moment. So being able to assess where am I right now, and then making our choices, noticing, choosing, and acting again and again and again. What I'm realizing for me, the thing, and it was I think it was Pete who said made the comment about the language. For me, I'm a talker, if you haven't noticed.
Really?
And
That's
yeah, I know it surprises a lot of people. But I also made the comment to Hank. I said, the reason I find myself talking even more than usual when I'm speaking English to people is because I can engage at a level that I cannot engage in Portuguese yet. There's a
yes.
there's a there's a yearning and a missing of the capacity to be able to have an intelligent, meaningful, deep, rich conversation with someone in a language that I'm basically sound like a 2-year-old right now. I can say, bom dia, boa noite, obrigado. It's like, and that's the extent of my ability to communicate in the language. So I'm really looking
Yes.
forward to continue learning that and becoming fluent in that, because that's the thing I miss the most. And I think I may come to a place where I realize that I am amazed that I can do that in Portuguese. I may wake up one day and go, "Wow, I'm doing it," but that's not yet.
That'll be pretty special, won't it? I mean, and there's
Yeah,
another thing to look forward to, and it is a journey, isn't it? All the cliches are true, aren't they? It's about the journey, not the destination necessarily. Even though we know what the destination is in a sense, we've done that bit. We are in the country where we want to be, but it remains a journey. Talking of which, look who's been travelling. There's Taxi. With next to his
sweet
box with live
taxi.
animals, and Taxi's
I
lovely,
met
isn't it?
that
And guess
wonderful little.
get guess where he is there in that picture, James?
Uh,
Made it to Canada.
okay, he's on the deck
Sue,
in a backyard.
yeah,
He's in Canada.
Sue's,
Nice.
yeah. That's not a
Congratulations.
cage. That's not a cage. That is somebody's deck. He looks a bit tired, but a dog can look like that at any time of the night or day, can't they? But well done, Suze. Well done, Taxi. What a journey those two have been on. Wasn't that incredible to be part
Yes.
of that? Oh, my goodness.
The true adventurer's journey, the pioneer's journey. Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. You are amazing, Suze. If you're joining us, I don't know if you're tuned in at the moment. You're probably having a massive and well-deserved rest. So incredible. Thanks for the pictures. Yep. And there's a reason God designed us to not see what's behind us. He wants us to look forward. That's nice, Tom, who's joined us this morning. Thank you very much, Tom. Not usually able to join us, but is this morning. I think you had a comment to say.
Oh,
as
wait a
much.
minute. My mother always told me she had eyes in the back of her head. So now I'm confused.
Well, I guess she was working. She was filling in for that design fault, if we could call it that. Maybe. Look, yeah, Tom is in from Ohio this morning. I usually don't get to see you live, but today's a holiday. Oh, yeah, happy holidays over there in the States. So I thought I would check in. I'm glad you did, Tom S. What is the great? Are you in touch with such matters anymore, James, or is that behind you?
It's called Memorial Day, and it's a day that we designate to remembering the soldiers who have dedicated their lives to.
Okay, all right. So yes, happy Memorial Day, if that is the appropriate greeting. A somewhat somber occasion, of course, as well. But yes, have an appropriate celebration, all American friends there. But lots of people saying hello to you as well this morning. Let's gather those together with the greetings that will inevitably come for Gilda as well in a moment. Bon dia, great weekend until we went to Lidl and bought a great bottle of wine. We thought it was 168. Couldn't wait to tell everyone how good it was. Then checking the receipt, it was a whopping $6.99. That's outrageous.
Oh my goodness!
Imagine spending all that money on a bottle of wine.
Man, Portuguese prices.
It's clearly upset in the alcohol. She, of course, is the host of our new meetup. Look at this, Portimao meetup. There she is with one of those bottles of wine, one of those glasses. We have our second meetup in the planning. So if you want to get involved in that same number, the usual number, 913-590-303, will get you connected with Jack Polly. Go on, James.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. All right. So thank you very much for that. So far, because you're staying with us, we're not just chucking you out the back door anymore. Because Gilda has requested the pleasure of your company for a little bit longer. But that still means we should do this.